Hi, my name is Liz Foley. Welcome to the Back to School Night for Honors English 9. I just want to start by introducing myself and my family. This is me and my husband, Sean, my daughter, Bryn. She'll be a year old in just a few weeks. Then over here are my 3 pups, 2 mutts on the left and then a Boston Terrier there on the right. So switching over to talking about the course, I'm just going to run through the syllabus and talk a little bit about what we'll be doing this year. I do teach Honors English 9 as well as teaching AP Language and Composition. So some 9th graders will go on to take AP Language and Composition in their 10th grade year. Many more will take it as 11th or 12th graders. So one thing that I like to keep in mind is preparing students early on for that challenge of AP, as well as SAT style essays that are going to be coming up pretty soon. We're also going to write a big research paper this year and work on finding credible sources, which is a tough task. And we'll write a bit of opinion and some dialogues together as well. So in English 9, we look at these essential questions. We're going to be talking about rebellion, when we think it's morally justified, what place it has in democracy, and what role society has in terms of its marginalized groups. What are its responsibilities to its marginalized groups? As I already mentioned, we're really thinking ahead to future English classes, both in high school and in college. And we're going to focus really hard on improving as writers. That's something that I think has to be done through constant writing. So, of course, we'll be reading, but writing is going to be a major focus of the course. Here's just a quick word on plagiarism. This is going to be a little tricky right now because we're all online, but we will talk about this in class. We'll learn about this in class, about how to avoid plagiarism and exactly what constitutes plagiarism. It's not just taking of words, it's also the taking of ideas. So most important to most of the kids is how they're going to get their grade. This is broken down into categories related to the synchronous time we spend together, which is when we're together on Zoom, or the asynchronous time, which is when they're working independently. The classwork, the first category there is worth 25%, is any work that they're going to actually turn in to me when we're together on Zoom. This tech time grade is also when we're together on Zoom, and I'll go over that in just a minute. That's new to this year. Engagement and participation also takes place on Zoom. This is for students to verbally participate or to participate in the chat. Generally, I like to cold call on students to make sure that they're with us, that they're listening, that they're paying attention both to me and to each other. And then we have assessments. Those could be done during Zoom time, but they might also be done during independent time, so they could fall in either. And those will include things like quizzes, short answer responses that are typed, recitations out loud of poetry and of plays, essays, formal discussions, presentations, and so on. And then finally, they have this independent work category. Anything that's done on their own outside of our Zoom time would count as independent work. So I previously mentioned the tech time points. This is new this year. Students are receiving 5 tech time points every time we have a Zoom session together. And these are those 5 points. They get 1 point for engagement. This essentially means stay focused on the lesson. Don't get distracted with your phone or your little brother or your dog. Then we have time, which basically just means be on time, stay the whole time, and ask if you need a break or if you need to go get something. I try not to keep the kids longer than 45 minutes. Some days are only 30 minutes. So they really should try to time their breaks before or after that time together. Position, getting kids to sit upright just so they're not too sleepy, and keeping their head and shoulders visible, so not just a little sliver here. The last 2 points are for keeping their camera on at all times and for muting their microphone unless they're called on. Of course, these tech time expectations might vary depending on the student's personal situation, so they can always contact me if they need any kind of exception. Lastly, here are our shared texts. We've already read Lord of the Flies and the Binti trilogy over the summer, and together we'll be reading Things Fall Apart, Antigone, and Shakespeare's The Tempest. We may be able to squeeze in another text this year, but it really depends on the timing of the distance learning versus whether we go back in person. Here's my contact info, which you can also find in the description of this video, along with a copy of the syllabus. And briefly, you get a look here at the policies for absences, tardies, and late work. Hey, unfortunately, that's our time. Thank you so much for coming. And if you have any questions about the class or the syllabus, just shoot me an email. My address is efoley@latinpcs.org. And you can see a copy of the syllabus and my email address down in the video description.